Each offseason, one lucky player becomes the new face of the league, literally. As the Madden release date approaches, we take a look at each year's cover athlete, breaking down how they earned their spot and how each fared that season. Let's start in 2000, when Eddie George became the game's first ever featured athlete, gracing the cover of Madden 2001. George was coming off a third straight Pro Bowl season, rushing for over 1,300 yards and 9 scores in 1999. And once he became the new face of virtual football, he took his game to new heights.
George breaks a tackle. Eddie George to the clear. He's got running room. George cuts it. And he's in. Touchdown, Tennessee.
George dominated with 1,500 yards and 14 scores in 2000, finishing near the top in every major rushing category while earning his only Pro Bowl nod. He would go on to add 2 more 1,000-yard seasons, but would never approach those numbers again. The next year, Madden 2002 fans were greeted by cover athlete DAUNTE Culpepper.
Here's Culpepper firing deep. Randy Moss, touchdown.
As a first-year starter in 2000, the Pro Bowl QB threw for nearly 4,000 yards and a league-leading 33 touchdowns. But the following year, he was plagued by injuries, going just 4-7 and failing to crack the top 20 in passing yards or touchdowns. He would throw for just 2,600 yards and nearly as many interceptions as touchdowns. Meanwhile, the NFL's marquee running back in 2001 was clearly Marshall Faulk.
Warner gets to Marshall Faulk. Faulk, touchdown.
Faulk became the second man ever to win 3 straight Offensive Player of the Year awards. In 2001, he amassed 2,147 yards from scrimmage and a league-leading 21 total touchdowns. Faulk was an easy choice for the cover of Madden 03, but his production fell off a bit in 2002, and he failed to reach 1,000 rushing yards for the second time in his career. Faulk started just 10 games, a career low at the time. Still, the versatile back caught 80 passes, second most among running backs, and made his 5th straight Pro Bowl.
Vick on 2nd and 8, off the play fake, has some running room, inside the 30, inside the 20, Vick into the end zone, Falcons win in overtime.
Then there was Michael Vick, a real-life cheat code. Atlanta's dual-threat QB took the league by storm in 2002, rushing for nearly 800 yards and 8 touchdowns, while passing for 16 more. The Pro Bowler was a natural choice for the Madden 04 cover, but a preseason leg injury limited him to just 5 games in 2003. While Michael Vick may have been the greatest video game player ever, he threw for just under 600 yards and only 4 scores in reality. But Vick rebounded, making the Pro Bowl in 2004 and 5, while becoming the first QB to ever rush for 1,000 yards in a season in 2006. He would remain the ultimate Madden weapon for the majority of his career. The next season, EA Sports pulled a 180, opting for all-world linebacker Ray Lewis as the game's first defensive cover athlete. Lewis had just earned Defensive Player of the Year honors with 163 total tackles and 6 interceptions in 2003.
Garcia. Behind, it's intercepted by Ray Lewis. He's going in. Touchdown.
The Baltimore legend would pick up where he left off a year later. Lewis secured another All-Pro nod, finishing 3rd in the NFL with 147 tackles, a number he wouldn't top for the remainder of his 17-year career.
Back goes McNabb. He steps up. He's being rushed. He gets away from one man. Dashes to the outside. Still rolling. Comes back to the near side. A la Randall Cunningham against Buffalo. Pumping, loading up, he is firing it deep, and it is caught by Freddie Mitchell, down at the 15!
Donovan McNabb showed out in 2004, leading the Eagles to a Super Bowl berth while throwing for nearly 4,000 yards and 31 touchdowns. That earned him a place on the Madden 06 cover, but he battled a groin injury in 2005, playing just 9 games and missing the Pro Bowl for the first time in 5 years. He'd throw for just over 2,500 yards and 16 scores, the latter his lowest number as the Eagles' primary starter. Meanwhile, on the West Coast, Shaun Alexander was setting the league aflame.
And they can't shut this guy down, Alexander. He's looking for the house. And this is why the Seahawks have to pay him.
The league MVP gained 1,880 rushing yards and scored a then record 28 total touchdowns in an all-time rushing campaign. He was a no-brainer for the Madden 07 cover, but broke his foot just 3 weeks into the following season. Alexander played in 10 games but wouldn't even be a top 25 rusher, producing just half the yardage of his previous season. In 06, he totaled just 900 yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground before retiring 2 years later. Madden 08 opted for another up-and-comer, anointing phenom Vince Young to the cover. He was Rookie of the Year in 06, totaling 19 touchdowns and earning a Pro Bowl nod. Young was shaky at best in 2007, 9 touchdowns to 17 picks, but he did go 9-6 as a starter, leading Tennessee to a playoff trip. The 26-year-old would secure another Pro Bowl appearance in 09, but would be out of the league by 2012. After Young, Madden 09 would revert to a more familiar face, perennial Pro Bowler Brett Favre.
Tried to check it off. Looking at the slant. He's got it. There it is. The record. And Brett Favre is the all-time touchdown pass leader.
After 3 MVPs and a Super Bowl in Green Bay, Favre's final year with the Pack was also one of his most efficient. He completed over 66% of his passes for nearly 4,200 yards. As his season and seemingly his career concluded, he was poised to become Madden's first retired cover athlete until he wasn't.
Brett, the Jet, the Big Apple, buzzing.
Favre's surprise return had the sports world and EA scrambling. Madden had to release an updated downloadable cover featuring Brett in the mean green. But despite the buzz, a lingering shoulder injury and a league-high 22 interceptions marred his lone season in New York. Of course, his infamous season in Minnesota the year after would be arguably his best. Madden 10 gave us a surprise with 2 cover athletes. After their epic Super Bowl clash, the duo of Troy Polamalu and Larry Fitzgerald were worthy recipients.
Warner has time. Fitzgerald into Steeler territory. 30, 20, 10. Arizona has the lead.
Fitz hauled in a league-high 12 touchdowns in 2008 before scoring 7 in his dominant postseason run.
Picked off Polamalu. Polamalu going right. The field is open. Aaron Smith shields. Flacco. Polamalu takes it home.
Meanwhile, Polamalu intercepted 7 passes in the regular season and helped the Steelers squeak by the Cardinals in Super Bowl 43. Fitz would get the upper hand in 2009, earning another All-Pro while grabbing a career and league-high 13 scores. Polamalu, on the other hand, was limited to just 5 games with a knee injury before rebounding for 2 more All-Pro campaigns. By 2010, Drew Brees had established himself as a premier signal caller. His list of accomplishments was ever growing: a 5,000-yard season, Offensive Player of the Year, and he was fresh off an MVP performance that delivered New Orleans its first Super Bowl title.
The miracle in Miami has happened. The Saints have won the Super Bowl.
And after landing a cover spot on Madden 11, he kept rolling, posting an 11-5 record and finishing among the top 3 in passing yards and touchdowns. Somehow this would be considered a down year for Brees. He'd average an absurd 5,100 yards and 38 scores over the next 6 seasons. In 2021, he'd retire among the career leaders in nearly every passing category. For Madden 12, EA Sports tried something a little different, and a surprising fan-powered poll landed breakout star Peyton Hillis on the upcoming cover.
Hillis again, up the middle, runs right over Charles Godfrey for his 3rd touchdown of the half.
The bruising back blindsided the league, totaling over 1,600 scrimmage yards and 13 touchdowns in 2010. But he fell back down to earth the following season, rushing for under 600 yards and 3 scores before retiring a few years later. He is the only cover athlete to never earn a Pro Bowl selection. The same couldn't be said for Calvin Johnson, though, who established himself as the NFL's most dominant wideout in 2011.
On first down all day for Stafford, who goes to the end zone. Jump ball. That is unbelievable right there.
Megatron exploded for a league-high 1,681 yards and 16 touchdowns, earning his first of 3 straight All-Pro selections. As the cover player of Madden 13, the 6'5 wideout continued to toy with opposing secondaries. The following season, he paced all receivers with 122 catches and broke Jerry Rice's single-season record with 1,964 receiving yards. That season, he became the only receiver in the Super Bowl era to average at least 120 yards per game in a non-strike shortened season. To celebrate Madden's 25th anniversary, EA again opted for a fan vote, this time featuring both current stars and past legends. The winner? How about Barry Sanders, a Hall of Famer, MVP, and 6-time All-Pro?
Kaepernick, end zone, Crabtree, broken up, picked off! This game is over! Off the hands of Richard Sherman.
Once Richard Sherman earned a Lombardi in 2013, he was the talk of both the virtual and actual football world. Seattle's Legion of Boom defense put up historic numbers, and Sherman himself led the league with 8 interceptions, securing a place on the Madden 15 cover. Sherman picked off 4 more passes in 2014, but by then, the league knew better than to throw his way. He played in every game in 2014 and defended just 8 total passes. Nobody threw at Sherman. While Sherman was noteworthy for keeping the ball away, rookie Odell Beckham Jr. made a splash by hauling it in.
Play action. And Manning's going to heave one. Is Beckham a one-handed catch? How in the world?
Oh my goodness.
The young superstar was Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2014, totaling 1,305 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns in just 12 games. With his face on Madden copies worldwide, he'd get even better, increasing his receiving totals across the board. Statistically, he was a top 5 receiver in 2015, gaining 1,450 yards and 13 scores, both career bests. Over in the AFC, few downfield threats could compete with Rob Gronkowski. Gronk put together a second straight All-Pro year in 2015, nabbing 11 touchdowns and leading all tight ends with 1,176 yards in the regular season, not to mention a stellar playoff performance.
With the game on the line, Brady in the pocket, end zone bound, and it is caught by Gronkowski.
His play garnered him Madden 17 cover honors, but the following year would be plagued by injuries. He gutted through 8 games, totaling a meager 540 yards and 3 touchdowns, the worst output of his career. Thankfully, he returned to All-Pro form the following season. But while Gronk was battling injuries, his quarterback Tom Brady orchestrated one of the greatest comebacks in sports history.
Don't ever count Tom Brady out. Best ever, the best ever in my book.
Brady's 2016 season started with a 4-game suspension, but was capped off by a legendary second-half performance in Super Bowl 51. This earned him both GOAT status and a place on the cover of Madden 18. As gamers tried to recreate his dominance, he'd do it himself that upcoming season, throwing for a league-best 4,577 yards and 32 touchdowns while securing his 3rd career All-Pro. That postseason, he'd appear in yet another Super Bowl, throwing for over 500 yards in a loss to the Eagles. In the AFC North, it was Brady's future teammate, Antonio Brown, wreaking havoc on opposing defenses.
From the 10, Roethlisberger throwing end zone. Antonio Brown, spectacular catch. Touchdown. Wow.
In 2017, Brown secured his 4th straight All-Pro selection, hauling in 101 passes for a league-high 1,533 yards and 9 touchdowns. He was clearly the NFL's premier pass catcher and was rewarded by an appearance on Madden 19. That year, he'd continue to perform, catching 104 passes for nearly 1,300 yards and a league-leading 15 touchdowns. But the 2018 season firmly belonged to Patrick Mahomes, who went from intriguing prospect to surefire superstar in the blink of an eye. The 23-year-old joined Hall of Famer Peyton Manning as the second player to throw for 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards in the same season. Mahomes earned both MVP and Offensive Player of the Year honors. He was an easy choice for Madden 20 cover athlete, and his legend continued to grow the following year.
2nd and 10 as that Tennessee defense drops back. As Long who tried to make a diving and tipped at Mahomes, who tiptoes inside the 10. Still not down. Oh, what a run! Out of this world!
Mahomes overcame a nagging knee injury, going 11-3 with 4,031 yards and 26 touchdowns. After that, he delivered the greatest postseason performance in Chiefs history, punctuated by Kansas City's first Super Bowl win in 50 years. But during the 2019 season, there was yet another young quarterback on the rise in Baltimore. In his first full year as starter, Lamar Jackson generated one of the most electrifying seasons in recent memory.
It's a 2nd down and 3. Jackson takes it himself. Look at him dart back and forth. Oh, he broke his ankles. Now he's got an entourage, and he's got a touchdown.
In 2019, the former Heisman winner rushed for 1,206 yards, a single-season QB record. Jackson also passed for a league-high 36 touchdowns and was the second ever unanimous league MVP. With Michael Vick comparisons abound, it was only fitting that he'd adorn the cover of Madden 21 like Vick did 17 years earlier. Jackson's production would fall off a bit in 2020, but he still threw for 2,800 yards and 26 scores. He also became the first quarterback with consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Jackson provided magic in an epic Monday night clash against the Browns and went on to earn his first ever playoff win. So there you have it. That's the scoop on every Madden cover player ever. After a matchup in Super Bowl 55, Brady and Mahomes find themselves back in the EA spotlight. Let's see how the GOATs fare in 2021.